Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Derek, and I'm joined by,
Karen.
and we're going to be discussing what's happening on this week. Tommy, roll the credits, and we'll get started. All right, I guess we'll start off with Alexis, who
Yes.
arrested for the murder of John Cates, Jagger
Yeah.
Cates, as we know him as. So I wasn't surprised because I kind of thought it was going to be Christina, but towards the end of the last week before this, I was like, no, it's probably going to be Alexis. Um, so let's see. What were so Molly was no Christina and Molly had a confrontation. That was kind of where we started at
Right.
about Alexis.
Yeah, because mostly Molly is the only person with any brains in this scenario, which is crazy because early on in the storyline, she was just being overbearing and terrible, and now she's turning into the hero you need. So I'm like very proud of her. This is like character
I
growth.
think she's amazing. I love her, and I loved her scenes with Sunny too. She did a great job against Marnice Bernard. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Talk about showcasing her talent, his talent. Like it was really like sometimes you're like, I don't like the character, so but it's never I don't like the character because they can't act. The show has got a lot of talent, like serious talent on their hands. And she is killing it. And she's just so right. She's just like, Christina, you're stupid. You never think anything through. And you're gonna get our mother arrested for murder. And you're doing it all to protect your stupid father. And I was just like, yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's very soapy.
So I'm still Team Molly, of course.
Sure.
Like, I can't get behind Christina. I did feel bad for her though in her scenes with Felicia.
I did. Because I also, I feel like Christina Wagner did an incredible job of being empathetic and, in her case, sympathetic. And I think that she was the first person to really get through to Christina because this is the first time Christina admitted that it was an accident.
Yeah, I think so.
And, she blamed herself for an accident. And Felicia points out that, yeah, did you hear what you said? You said it was an accident. So it's no one's fault if it's an accident. And I thought that was a very sensitive thing to say. And she really does need lots of therapy, though.
Yeah.
This is a lot. A lot.
A lot of people were saying Stella would be a more appropriate choice. And I was thinking no, because she's connected to TJ. Stella should not be her patient advocate. It definitely should be Felicia.
I think the only reason they're saying that is because Stella as a character is an incredibly sensitive, empathetic person.
Yeah.
And she would be incredibly gentle with Christina. Even in this case, I think she still would be a professional. But you're right. Like the conflict of interest would be insane. And having her stand there and try and, in her opinion, coddle the woman who killed her grandchild is really that's tough. That's really tough for Stella to deal with. And she's a strong woman.
I think that would be hard for her to separate too. Like I don't think she could do that.
I don't think the hospital would allow for that anyway. That's a liability.
It's a huge conflict of interest.
Yeah. So while I do agree that Stella is that sensitive and kind of person, I agree with you. I think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. So Alexis's trial begins, and there's a federal prosecutor. So we actually have someone from the federal aspect prosecuting the case, and I guess PCPD is going to be investigating what the prosecution is going to be federal for whatever reason.
Yeah, this is confusing because this is the death of a federal agent. It should be prosecuted entirely by the feds. The fact that the police department is involved at any level is just Port Charles TV magic to keep everyone involved. It's like the feds would have took over this investigation instantly as soon as they found out who the victim was.
Yeah, so we have all three daughters there. Sam was being played by Lindsay Hartley again, and she's amazing. I love her.
My God, so good this week.
Yeah, she was so good this week. I'm like, how are you letting her go? She's so good.
Just write a part for her and put her into the cast. I don't care.
Sam. Like she could just play some kind of recurring role, like something.
She's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. So it ends up having Alexis is she pleads not guilty, but however, the prosecutor suggests no bail, and the judge agrees, and so she is going to be held without bail. And Christina looking like she's going to say something, and but she just like, you can't do this. Like, and the judge almost charges her with contempt, but I guess she's Alexis is like, well, she's been through so much, she can't be charged with contempt. And I think Alexis made a mistake in defending herself. Um,
I think in this scenario, she didn't really have much of an option. We only have so many lawyers on the cast. Scott's not
yeah.
available. Diane is engaged by Sonny, which, by the way, is incredibly selfish, and I hate Sonny for it. And like, we have Rick, who's obviously the worst choice ever because he would railroad her. It's just, she's in a scenario where there's a limited cast and only so many lawyers. And this is only an arraignment. So I think she thought she could just get through the arraignment and then figure out the lawyer thing later, because honestly, she wants Diane and she can't have Diane because Sonny's scumbag.
Yeah, so that brings us to Sonny recruiting Martin Gray, sans accent, to be Alexis's lawyer.
Look,
I don't know what this whole accent thing is going on with.
There's precedence for this, because remember, young Max Scorpio did have a terrible Australian accent that he phased out.
You're right about that. Yeah.
Which Robert Scorpio brought to his attention one time, and I think he said to him, "What happened to your accent?" And Max said, "It was pretentious, so I lost it," which I thought was a baller way to handle the fact that it was just a pain in the ass to keep doing the accent.
It's funny because a lot of people thought he was actually Australian, but he's not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like that Martin Gray is losing his accent. I'm wondering if that was a request from Michael E. Knight. Because I did like his little Southern accent. It was cute.
Yeah, at first I was like, is he playing Tad now? Is he playing Tad Martin and not
I
Martin?
know, shaved, looking more like Tad. Well, I guess now that there's distance between Tad's character and Martin, he can relax a little bit and look more like he would probably normally look in real life.
Yeah, and he's been off the show for a little while, so I'm guessing they were like, oh, it's time to lose accent, maybe.
And he still had it a little bit.
He did have it a little bit, yes.
Well, I'm assuming he's doing what they do where they soften it and then drop it, which, again, John J. York did with Max Scorpio. And it's fine. I loved Max's little Australian accent, but it was probably a pain to keep up.
Yeah.
Especially with real Australians around, because, with Jasper Jacks on, Ingo is a real Australian.
All right, so Alexis is sent to jail, and the scene was very dramatic with her taking off her jewelry and her clothes. And
she's done this before.
Yeah, she has.
I hate this.
No, I feel bad for her. I feel bad that she's stuck in this situation right now. But we get a surprise. Heather is her cellmate.
Love it. I was going crazy because I was like, as soon as she was going to Pentonville, I'm like, ooh, she's going to be with Heather.
I kind of knew that was coming too. I was like, yes,
well, that's
please.
The most dramatic thing you could ever do. It's also going to put Alexis in a direct position to see how Heather has changed. Not that Heather's never going to be not wacky, but
off filter, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's never been sane. I can tell you that from 1981 Heather, that she's never been sane. Never.
Yeah. What if she's involved in like the baby switch or something, like with Jason, right? She stole Jason from Monica and gave it to Susan, or
no? What are you talking about?
No, I don't remember.
So after Susan was murdered, Alice Grant had custody of Jason, and then Alice Grant had a brain aneurysm and dropped dead, which sucks because Alice Grant was a great character, and I don't know if she wanted to leave the show or they just were storyline dictated. So then the only remaining relative on Susan's side is Heather. So now Heather has Jason, and they end up sneakily moving into the gatehouse on the Quartermain property. So that's where they are currently in 1981.
Okay, gotcha.
I think
I
it's
didn't watch
1981.
that.
I don't know. I'm watching 81 to 83, something in the 90s, and the current show. So forgive me if I get the year wrong, because
No,
I
you're
can tell
good.
you, not for
No,
nothing, in
I hear about
83, all we're doing is Russian spies. So
I know nothing about the 80s. I only know from the 90s on. So
oh, that's a shame, because in the 80s, things
yeah,
are crazy fun.
yeah.
Not that they're not in the 90s. Believe me, I love the 90s. It's just every decade of General Hospital always has a delight. Like, there's always
Mhm.
something charming going on. It's a good show.
Yeah. All right. So earlier, Rick visits Heather and tells her that the blood test results came back and there's no way he can advocate for her on the terms of with the
There's no considerable difference in the amounts of
right.
cobalt in her blood pre and post op. So they're
Yeah,
saying they can't use cobalt poisoning as an excuse
that's right. Mm-hmm.
in the case. So he's very delicate with her, and he notices when he's talking to her how soft and like homicidal she is. He seems
Mm-hmm.
very upset by the end of that conversation,
Yeah,
like he
and I think
failed
he
her.
felt bad for her too.
Yeah,
Which
he did.
yeah,
Rick's not a monster. He just looks
no,
like a monster because of Sunny.
yeah.
I should wear a shirt. It's like I do not like Sunny Corinthos. Do I like Maurice Bernard? Yes.
But I
Yes.
like where this is going because he went to
Yes.
Liz and I guess he got another test from a different lab and they compare the results and it shows that the levels of cobalt poisoning are very, very low in the
They're
other
drastically different from the
drastically
pre and
different.
post op. And
So
she suggests to him that he go get another blood draw from Heather and then have it independently tested at multiple labs. And the thing that sucks about this is we all know that this was Portia.
yes.
This is Portia. Portia's too happy. She's been kind of on edge and anxious for weeks, and she rehired Brad. And I feel like she rehired Brad specifically to take the L for this situation.
I was wondering that. I was thinking that maybe it was Brad because of Britt, but also it could be Portia working.
It's Portia.
I work for Portia.
She's a monster on this show. Like her hatred of Heather, which is, by the way, understandable, justifiable if she wasn't so selfish about it. Like, she will do anything to protect my family. She said, how many times has she said that so far in the last line?
And she's gonna lose her job, essentially.
Good.
Yeah.
She's blowing her relationship with her husband and with her daughter out of the water, and she's doing it because she's paranoid and scared, which is understandable, but you're also chief of staff and you can't be doing things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Which leads to Terry being the only chief of staff, so she can be back on all the time, because I
would love to see her back on more often. I'd love to see Brad on more often. I'm hoping
I love Brad
this week. And I'm hoping we see Terry again this week, so that'll be fun.
I think Perry Shan is super fun, and if you're not following him on Instagram and all the other socials, you're really missing out.
I don't think I follow him. I'll have to follow him.
You should. He did a whole cute thing about returning to General Hospital, and I was like,
oh,
the
good.
video was so cute.
Yeah, I really like him. We're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Drew and Willow next, my least favorite.
And then we're gonna go back to Rick and Liz before we're done.
We will, for sure.
Okay. If you're gonna make me talk about the grossest couple on the show, I want to talk about
okay, so this is all I have to say about that. Did they like put oil over him and make him look wet? Like, it was so like bizarre.
There was so much oil on that man.
It's crazy.
I don't want to make a joke about the
I will say this though,
about certain rappers.
Yeah, Cameron Atkinson looks great. He looks better than he did 20 years ago on All My Children. Like,
look, no lie. This man is cut. He's attractive. He has such a sweet charm about him. And I still want to vomit every time they're on screen together.
I
hate it. I hate it so much.
I can't wait, and I hope they drop it. Like, I just hope they drop this storyline.
No, I don't think they're going to drop it. I think they're going to blow up Michael and Willow, because it looks like they're setting Michael up for not a villain arc per se, but like, he's going to turn on some Quartermains, because he and Ned got into it.
Yes, and I was mention that too.
Yeah, he and Ned got into it, and then there was this scenario while we're going through the Willow stuff where Nina accidentally set Drew against Michael.
Yes, And I think that they're definitely setting something up with that, which I'm looking forward to.
I'm for Chad needs a storyline. He's a good actor, and they don't really let him stretch his chops that often.
The only good thing coming out of the storyline is if Michael starts a villain arc. That would be great. That would be.
I want Michael to be like. I want him to be like Edward a little bit, like get in there.
And I would love him and Sasha to reconnect, and they're kind of be like a Michael, Cody, Sasha triangle. That'd be kind of cool.
I think that's interesting. I know that Tracy basically was like, stop paying so much attention to Cody's life and have a life of your own, which is kind of a lead in to give Sasha a better storyline.
Yeah, I didn't like Tracy in those scenes. I don't know why she feels like she needs to impose on Sasha's life.
I think Sasha was, I think there was two reasons why she did that. One, Sasha clocked, which was that Tracy's jealous of anyone being friends with her friends because she doesn't really know how to have friends. She's literally only learned that she needed friends in the last decade. I think the second reason is that she sees a woman pining after a man and in her insensitive Quartermain way tells her, hey, you're more than just an accoutrement to this guy's storyline.
Yes.
So even though it came across as harsh, it really was helpful advice. Tracy style.
Yeah, and they had those scenes at the club. Of course, Drew and Willow bump into each other. Like they can't, I don't know, they can't keep away from each other no matter how hard they try. And then Curtis is the new CEO of Aurora.
Right. Temporary,
yes, because Drew is busy with his campaign. And I don't know why, but I kind of like Nina and Drew together. I don't know what it is.
Because they're both schemers.
Yeah.
They're like social climbing schemers.
It's a very unlikely duo, but I do enjoy their scenes together.
I think if they put their muscle behind that in building up that relationship from the vitriol they had previous to an actual relationship, it would be much more interesting than Willow. For me, it feels like Willow was bitten by a vampire. The vampire is Drew, and now she's in thrall, and she can't get away from him. And that's what the storyline plays out as. And with him being so much older and the family relation and all, it could be good, but the way it's presented just comes off as gross.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like it. I think I say that every time. I don't like it.
All right, well, let's circle back to Rick and Liz. I did enjoy those scenes, and I was going to say Kelly's, but it's Bobby's now, where Liz was like, yeah, nothing.
It's going to take me a decade to start calling that place Bobby's.
Right.
Kelly and I loved Rose Kelly. I feel like it sucks that she's kind of being erased by that. Yeah, and I also felt like they should have just named a wing in the hospital after Bobby, since she was nurse at General Hospital for so long.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it should just say Kelly's. It's always been Kelly's.
I mean, we have the Stone Kate's wing. We couldn't have like a Bobby Nurses Fund. Like that's a teaching hospital.
Yeah. So Liz has broken Rick's heart and told her that nothing is ever going to happen between them, and she just wants to be friends, and he's like, well, I'll take whatever I can get. So I did like those scenes because they were very heartwarming between them, that they can still be friends, but Rick is still hung up on her, which I knew.
Well, okay, listen, there's a lot that happens in those scenes that happens basically in eyebrow movements and looks and cute movements. But Rick has shown in about, 4 or 5 scenes this week that he absolutely respects Elizabeth. He respects her professional opinion as a nurse. He respects her as a person and as a mother. And when she said, I've been through the ringer and I don't want to be in love right now, he said, that's fine. I'll take what I can get. And if I'm just your friend, I'm your friend. And she gave him the respect, like they gave each other the respect of space. And as soon as he did that and said, you control everything, that's when she kind of realized that she could relax around him, and they started getting friendlier. And I really appreciated the way they handled it. It was very delicate and tasteful.
Yeah, it was very, I agree. It was definitely very delicate.
Considering last week he was like running the bus up over Alexis and then backing it up again.
Yeah, because I felt like Liz was going to be like, why are you trying to throw like the book at Alexis? And then and now he's kind of redeeming himself in a sense.
Well, technically, she doesn't know about Rick going back and twisting the knife in that scenario, and he did play it off like he was doing the right thing, which technically he was doing the right thing. Okay, let's face it, he was. He did it for the wrong reasons. Fair enough.
Agreed. All right. So Michael, Ned, Lois, and Gio.
What? I have never been so furious in my life during that scene when Lois said Ned and Sonny were similar. I wanted to jump into the TV and punch her.
I was like, are we rewriting history here?
All of it, clearly, because Ned has never once fucking shot somebody. Excuse my language.
No. Is she talking about personality? Stubbornness? What is she talking about? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Look, Ned is a Quartermain. He's going to be savage when it comes to business. Everything he was saying to Michael was 100% correct.
Yeah.
He was making moves through the SEC to protect their investment. Michael was aggravated, and he's still upset about when he and Drew tried to screw Ned out of ELQ, and ELQ, he turned the tables on them and he won that battle, but he got Valentine involved because Michael's like, well, you brought an outsider in, but they were trying to do the exact same thing to him. They were trying to cut him out of ELQ and take over everything. And they didn't expect Ned to defend himself.
Yeah.
And Ned got the best line in the world. And I was dying laughing because he just looked at him and he said, he was like, and if you didn't do this, and he's like, and if you didn't invite Sonny Corinthos to our house, John Cates might still be alive.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Yo, he really was a star this week because that whole scenario with Michael, and then Willow takes Michael away, so they end up at the club. But then it also, that anger goes into the conversation with Lois, which is an absolutely out of pocket conversation because Sonny Corinthos shot Ned's cousin and murdered him like he died. And like traumatized their family by basically taking Jason when he was brain damaged and convincing him that being an assassin was the greatest way to spend the rest of his life.
So Ned never liked him.
Ned cared. No, he did not like him, but he was family, and Ned is the gatekeeper for the Quartermain clan, and he has been for a long time. It doesn't matter if he likes him or not. You don't attack the family.
Yeah.
And he always called AJ Jr., and he did look out for him a couple times, but only because he's family. So you can't tell me that you can't be Lois and go, wow, you really should like Sonny, who's murdered members of your family and ruined members of your family and traumatized your, aunt and uncle for decades. You should probably like him because he's really a decent guy, sort of.
No.
And Ned was like, how do I believe anything you say, you weirdo without your accent? Who the hell is this person?
I agree with him on that 100%. I love when he said that because that's exactly what the audience was thinking too.
Oh yeah, that was a great way to hang a lantern on it. Was just like this accent thing, whatever this is and wherever it's going, the audience is confused by it. And Ned is confused by it. And I liked it.
I liked it too. And I liked when she had those scenes with Gio and Gio was like, yeah, just be you. And she just starts using her accent again. And I enjoyed that because that's the Lois I know. That's the Lois I want to see.
I enjoyed that. But then when she turned around and like, I was excited because she was trying to break it gently to Gio that Sonny is the monster that everyone in town. Yeah. They're like, he is that monster. He's also all these other good things. Sure. But he's also this guy, this other guy.
Yeah.
And like most of what you're hearing about him is true. And then Gio, of course, is kind of like, I've heard bad things about Ned too. I'm like, what have you heard about Ned?
Yeah. I mean, did you hear about Ned in the 90s when he was a bigamist and married Lois and Catherine? Is that what you heard about?
This also, in that scenario, if I may go back to the 90s for a second, Ned was between a rock and a hard place with the whole Lois Catherine Bell situation.
Right, because of his family, yeah.
Right, and literally everyone was chucking that woman off a parapet. It's fine. It's fine.
Why didn't she die the first time? I would love to know.
No one. Oh my God. Well, she's probably still alive now because apparently every single character who's been thrown off the parapet, except for her, has survived.
Mhm.
And Esme survived it twice, once while pregnant.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not that high, and it lands into deep ocean where everybody survives. Apparently, there's floaties at the bottom, so you can get away. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was a great showcase moment for Ned. Lois is insane. Anybody thinking that a strong businessman is the same as a mob guy. I mean, yeah, you could say on the business end of things, sure, but on the murder ends of things, like Ned's never arranged for someone's murder.
No, never. He's never gone that far. So,
and he also had to protect Brenda from Sonny a lot in the 90s because he was her friend. So, like, I don't get this. I don't get this from Lois when Lois was on Ned's side when they tried to get Brenda to wear to the wire.
Yeah,
like they were team get Brenda out of this abusive relationship, and now they've all mellowed and they love Sonny and he's wonderful. It's confusing to me.
It's very confusing. I 100% agree.
Also, she didn't want Brooklyn to take money from Sonny. So he's so great. She doesn't want her daughter to take money from him.
Yeah.
Choose a side.
Yeah. Oh, and I also want to mention, where's Olivia been? Like, we see Lois more than we see Olivia.
We do. And that's unfortunate. Although I prefer Lois to Olivia because Olivia really hasn't had a storyline in a minute. Which I would love to see her. But I would also like to have seen her in that scene because she would have 100% backed up Ned.
Yeah, and she hasn't gone to see Lulu, who she was very close with. It's just kind of...
No, only Carly is close with Lulu. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Carly and Lulu are best friends.
They were best friends, and they hung out all the time, and they braided each other's hair. They were good friends. Good friends.
Yeah. Well, so Cyrus was here this week, and he went to see Lulu and has been praying by her bedside, which is ironic since he caused the explosion that not killed her, but put her in a coma.
Put her in that scenario. I do like that he admitted to it. He sat there and apologized for it, which is more than some other characters on the show do.
Agreed.
And I liked that. I like Cyrus. He's a wild card.
Yeah.
His scenes with Isaiah were so sweet until Jordan came to chase him away like a cockroach, and that was hilarious.
I enjoyed that a lot. And I'm glad that she told Isaiah that Cyrus is the one who put Lulu in a coma. So
right. Yeah. And he was like, he just seemed like such a nice person.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
I don't know. I do think he's evolving.
I go back and forth about whether he's redeemed or not. I'm not really sure.
Look, General Hospital has a history of having characters on who are redeemably irredeemable, and Heather's one of them. Cyrus can be one of them.
Yeah.
They go through cycles where they're on the up, they're on the down, and that's fine. I don't think it's fair to prejudice him against Cyrus, except that it kind of is because it's Cyrus's fault that he's in that scenario. But if Jordan had come in with a newspaper, rolled it up, and smacked Cyrus in the nose with it, it would have made that perfect. She was like, "You get out of here."
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll end with Holly, Sidwell, Jason, and Anna, and Lucky in Somalia. These were fun scenes.
Okay, so I love imaginary Elizabeth telling Lucky that he has ruined his entire life and he should go home and be a man. I liked that, but other than that, it just seemed to me a little pathetic to hallucinate the woman you abandoned a long time ago.
Years and years ago.
And you never even called. You didn't care about your kid. And kids, basically, because he was kind of helping out with Cameron, and he just abandoned him too.
Oh yeah, Jake died in that time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I thought that first off, acting top notch. But I was like, ew, you gave up on your family. You ran away. You have the same insecurity your father had, and you're laying on this floor bleeding out, and you're thinking, can I possibly go home after this? It's like, grow up, go home, face your responsibilities. If it doesn't work out, at least you could say you tried. Yeah, don't expect her to be waiting for you when you come home.
She's not waiting for her. She stopped waiting for you a long time ago.
Yeah, right. Especially after you cheated on her and you did a bunch of drugs.
Right? Yeah. I wonder if Lucky will go back to being a cop. Like I'm just
Ew.
what they're gonna go with. What they're gonna do with him when he finally gets back to Port Charles.
I don't know if he could be a cop again, because remember, like he did that as kind of rebellion against his father, because his father's always
Right.
been on the edge of the law, which is crazy because Robert was the head of the police department and they were best friends for years, and Anna was head of the police department and Mac, and they're all friends.
Mm-hmm.
Although Mac and Luke are kind of off and on because of the danger that Luke always seems to drag Felicia into.
Yeah. Oh, side note, before I forget, they did mention that that where that place, the picnic area, the quarter mansion was a crime scene. I'm like, oh, you actually are acknowledging this, but you're still hanging out there.
Can we talk about the disrespectfulness of doing yoga?
Oh, yes, he's doing yoga there. Yeah.
This is the most zen place on the property where the corpse was laid out. And then, of course,
Yeah.
Drew shows up dripping in baby oil. And
another crime scene and then just more stuff happening there.
I don't know. The crime is that, like, I feel bad for him because getting all of that off of yourself, he's going to be slip sliding all over the set for the rest of the day.
I'm glad that was it Michael who said it. Michael's like, yeah, we have a crime scene where we're at the gatehouse. That's what it was. Yeah, I'm glad they acknowledged that because that was bothering me.
They did, but they're still using it. Like
exactly.
you'd think they would have just been like, just not for a few days, like at least give it a week's grace. I just show so much disrespect, to be honest.
All right, well, circling back to the casino in Somalia.
This was fun.
This was fun, yes. Sidwell and Holly are there, and so is Jason and Anna. Jason and Anna show up, and Holly sees her, and she's not too pleased to see them.
The funniest thing is Anna's like, Holly's here.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason's like, aren't you friends? And she's like, sometimes.
I that was perfect way to say it. Perfect way to put
Only their stuff's aligned.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I did love when Holly said, "Does Robin know that you and Jason?"
She also said, I bet Alan's rolling over in his grave. Does Monica know?
Yes, she did say that too. I loved that. God, I love Holly. She's great.
But at the same time, like Holly, really, seriously, she's just like, yeah, I saw Lucky.
Yeah.
And then I did nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. And Anna's like, well, Anna told her about Lulu being, needing a liver transplant. So I think Holly's on their side. It's going to help them.
She also kind of explained why she didn't get involved. She was like, the security is insane. You don't understand that even if I wanted to do anything, I couldn't. But I didn't want to because I was looking for diamonds. And besides, he's fine. He was fine yesterday when I saw him and they were threatening to kill him every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We acknowledge that they all look beautiful.
They did all look great.
They did. Like Anna's dress is so sparkly and so pretty. And Jason is wearing your basic James Bond white tux. And Holly had this beautiful comb in her hair that was just really elegant. Like everybody looked gorgeous.
Yes. So Jason and Sidwell did play a couple hands, and how he gambled away Holly's diamonds, which she was not too pleased about.
I wouldn't be either.
So, but they set this up in a way so Jason and Anna can come back to wherever they're holding Lucky now. I guess it's a new camp or compound. Or something.
And they need to fly into the camp, but they're screwed because somebody at the club overheard them talking about Lulu and the transplant and basically showing that Holly knows Anna.
Yes.
So they're walking into a trap. And I think Jason noticed it.
Yeah,
personally.
I think Jason's kind of privy to what's going on.
He was doing a lot of intense staring, which is, the assassin way of conveying that he knows information. But there was an awful lot of
yeah.
And I was like, okay, Jason's
he
on to
does
it.
very well, actually. I will give him that. He does that very well.
He did. I love Steve Burton in scenes with Finola Hughes and Emma Samms. I think this is like a new fun team, and I want more of it.
And this run with Steve Burton, I love the way they're using him, and they're not just putting him in Carly and Sonny's orbit all the time.
I don't mind him being in Carly's orbit. I think as his best friend, they're always going to circle one another. But I just feel like after the way Sonny treated him for the last, year, I like him better without Sonny. But I always have.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. I love Jocelyn's line about Sonny and Carly and the rubber band, and then the two ends of the rubber band, and then they always just come back together, whether she likes it or not.
I loved how Gia was like, "That's kind of romantic," and she's like, "Yeah, it would be if it wasn't abusive." Exactly. You know what? I would buy her a star on the Walk of Fame for the work she's done in the last month because I am so impressed with her. She's been great. But they have like limited Dex. Like Dex hasn't really been on. He was like in one scene. So now they're just kind of
minimal scenes. And a lot of people are saying that Dex and Molly might be a thing because she has cheated on TJ before. So
okay, first off, anyone who says that she cheated on TJ before needs to rewatch the episode to see what happened.
Yeah.
Because at the time, TJ had been kidnapped.
Yeah.
And they told her that they told Molly that TJ was dead. Or no, not that he was dead, that he left her.
Yes, they did.
So she was under the impression that TJ had run off on her when she slept with Brando. She slept with him because she was hurt, and her boyfriend had run off with her and said nothing. That was entirely TJ's family's fault that happened. So you can't really say that she cheated on TJ, which she did on a technicality, but how is she cheating on him when at the time she was told that he had blown her off and left her?
Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
I disagree with anyone that says that she's a cheater. That's crap.
All right. Do you have anything else?
I think I don't know what's going on with this whole Ned storyline. I feel like we're probably angling to go back into ELQ, but I am super excited to see the Quartermain point of view again, where the Quartermains are just like business over everything. I've missed that. It doesn't happen a lot. And I like this weird setting up they're doing with how Nina told Michael, well, why wouldn't you be the head of Aurora? Which she's right. By the way, Curtis just joined this company yesterday, and he's already going all the way up the ladder to be acting COO. That doesn't make any sense because, as Curtis said, he's run the club, but he has never been the CEO of a massive corporation like Aurora.
Yeah.
What does he know about publishing? That he was working in the health industry, half of it. He was running gyms, and now he's going to be running all the umbrella companies under Aurora.
Yeah, like magic.
I mean, good for Curtis.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know what Drew's thinking, but it's a soap, so I'll go with it.
Well, no, nobody on this show ever has experience before they're like literally given the job.
Funny because they'll put people in new jobs all the time. They're like, how did they just do that?
I know, because like you would get a new job and they would be like, okay, today you need to put out a successful magazine, and you're like, okay, what is step one?
Right.
And everyone around you's like, you need to know that. And you're like, I've never run a magazine before.
Exactly.
No, but Nina did it. 5 seconds flat. She was running Connie's magazine with no problems, no experience, no nothing.
Yeah.
And that girl spent like a decade in a coma.
Yeah. Well, soap magic, you know.
I love soap magic. I'm a big fan.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Queers and Soaps.
Let us know what you think.
Yes, this is our GH coverage for this week. Be sure to check out our Patreon for more exclusive content, and we will see you next time.